Here's a piece of paper.
これをこうして
If I crumple it up
病院の窓から
and throw it out the window at a hospital,
投げると大体
then
叱られます。
I would be scolded, I'm sure.
もし褒められること
The
が
only
できたら
place they may praise you for throwing it out the window would probably be
心療等の
maybe this psych ward.
戸田君
They would say, Mr.
元
Toda,
気だね
you did good today.
注射打ってね。
So it's time for your shot and go to bed.
私40年ぐらい
So
前
around
に
40 years ago,
病院に入院して、
I became sick and I had to check into the hospital.
同じようにですね紙しかなくて
So I only had paper around me,
何もないんです。
nothing else besides paper. There was nothing for me to
腹
do.
立っても
So
窓から投げて
I got in a bit of a fit of anger and I threw paper outside my window at the hospital. And
看護
then
婦さんがですね
the nurse came
やめてもらえません
and
か
say, stop it.
庭に
Don't throw garbage onto the hospital gardens.
庭にね
So I thought, hospital gardens? Well,
庭を越えればいい
maybe if I just throw it outside of the hospital property, be okay.
そう解釈させていただきま
So
して
that's how I interpreted what
こ
she
れ
said.
は越えるためには何をする
And
かというと
I thought, what I must do,
これじゃダメだなやっぱ飛行機
I can't. I must make a paper airplane. That's how I could do it. I must make a paper airplane, not just throwing a piece of paper out. So after much trial and error,
紙飛行機
I was able to make a paper airplane, and I was able to fly it so that it went across the hospital garden and landed outside of the hospital property. I tried many times,
その度ごとに叱られるんですけど
and each time they got angry at me, but I kept doing it.
その純然たる紙飛行機
I wanted to make the perfect one, and I was finally able to do one which went outside the hospital property. And of course, the local residents complained.
退院は早まりましたそうです
And probably because of that, I was able to be discharged earlier than normal. Maybe they just kicked me out, is I guess the more appropriate way to say
大
that.
学にやっ
But
ぱり帰って
I tried to go to the
なんとか大学を
university,
卒業したいと思ったんですけ
and I
ど
wanted to graduate, but basically it was so hard for me because of health reasons, so I was just basically staying and sleeping in my apartment.
本当に天井
So every day I was just looking at the ceiling, and it's like the lines and textures on the ceiling. I'd look at them, and
そのうちそれが木目がですねだんだん
it seemed to be
宇宙
look like the universe, and it looked like the Milky Way to me.
ちょっと終わりに近いかなと
Maybe you may laugh at me, but
そこで
I
考えたのは
thought
ですねその宇宙から地球に向
that
かってもし
it'd be great if I could find a paper airplane from the space toward the
様
Earth.
子おかしいですけども
You probably think I was strange, but
その大体燃えると皆さん思うんです
so
けど
you probably think it would burn. But what I thought was that maybe it won't burn. It won't burn up when it's coming into the atmosphere. That suddenly, when you're going into the atmosphere, actually suddenly, you're not going to suddenly into cold air. You're not slowly but slowly, the temperature is changing. So you would maybe have a paper break. So if you have a break on there, the air break, then it'd be good to be able to have paper. You wouldn't have it being burned. So maybe if I could make a paper airplane, I could have it come into the atmosphere and it would not burn up. So I made over 1,000 types of different paper airplanes. I would wake up and then make a paper airplane, go back to sleep, wake up, make a paper airplane. I would over 1,500 different types of paper airplanes. And then finally, I understood what needed to be done. And I was able to make this space shuttle type of paper airplane. And let me make it here. I would like to be able to make it in front of you. So it's a paper airplane. I have to fold it, so
ハサミは使いません
I'm not using any scissors, no
一枚
scissors.
の紙で
With just one piece of
だ
paper,
けでですね
and I'm just folding it.
作ります 蹴りを入れて
I have to kick it a little bit, but
立体的にですね
And it's going to be 3D. It has a shape. Maybe like this?
はい。飛ばしてみたいと思います。
So let's try it.
すみません、皆さんのところでもしかして
So it may land on your head. So, but I have insurance, so
いきます。
let's go.
3、
3, 2, 1. Maybe 70 out of 100. I was hoping to be able to go to the very end, but maybe 70 out of 100 points is the score. So with one piece of paper, I created many different paper airplanes, and I got better, my health got better, and I often teach people how to do this. And they say, and I often talk to people about me liking paper airplanes. They said, you want to be number one, right? And I'm like, do I, number one? I don't know if I want to be number one, but they said, no, you say you're going to be number one in the world. So I said, okay, I'll be number one in the world when it comes to paper airplanes. But I was like, well, how could I be number one when it comes to paper airplanes? And I realized that I actually forgot to mention something regarding these JAXA. Actually, we got the approval that to be able to launch this in space. And all we have to do is just do it. It took 35 years or so to do this. And next, I'll be going to NASA next month, and we're going to be reporting to get approval to be able to launch it from space. And I want to be able to have it on the NASA shuttle so that I could launch it from space. So hopefully I'll be able to get their approval. So next, going back to my previous discussion, that how could I be number one in the world? There's no need to be number one in the world, but if I was going to be, I wanted to be number one. And how could I do this? Actually, I forgot to say something else as well. That this, we talked about with the previous paper airplane. We had the Maha 7. There's a wind tunnel test, which we tested. We put it in a wind tunnel test, and we were actually be able to have it be able to sustain the Mach 7. And actually, in many different magazines around the world, that it was able to sustain and be able to sustain a Mach 7 wind tunnel test. So to be number one, I guess I have to make a Guinness world record. So there's many different things to do. But I was thinking the best thing for me to do would to be able to be longest time in the air for a paper airplane. The Guinness Book record was 27.6 seconds. You may think, oh, that's not a long time. But actually, if you're able to do over 10 seconds or so, normally in the paper airplane competition, you win. But 10 seconds is quite long. And there's only 2 people in the world who can actually do it for 20 seconds. One of them, 20.5 seconds. But actually, he hurt his shoulder, so he can no longer fly paper airplanes. Number 1 is 27.6 seconds, the world records. So you'd have to, I was really questioned whether this is really possible or not. So I was only able, my longest record was 19 seconds. So there's 3 things that I could do. At the time, I was 82 kilometers, and I thought I have to lose weight. So you can't throw it far if you're too heavy. Also research the paper airplanes. If the same paper, you want to be able to have a broader wings. However, if you make it too broad, then you're not, it loses the strength. You're not able to have it go up high. So in order to be able to have it go up high, the paper, you have to have strong paper. And you also think about the way of throwing it. So actually, if you have to be careful that, for example, if you go to, I always go to hotels for work, and I would use tissue paper. And what I realized when I'm throwing it, that it's the same as Japanese martial arts, that you have to stand the same way, that this is normally how you are doing the martial arts. So, the right foot comes forward. And for example, for kendo as well, is how they do it. And then here, you go down, and then you aim toward up, and then you throw it up. But here, you're back. When you get older, it becomes painful. So that is how I was able to beat the Guinness World Record. Maybe I can show you the video. So I threw it. There you go. Next is that I was able to go all around the world, and I teach children about paper airplanes, and I wanted to teach children in Nepal about this. I went there around 10 years ago to Nepal, and I had some extra time on my hands, so I wanted to go to the mountain and go to a high mountain, and then from the high mountain I wanted to fly a paper airplane. However, as you can see in the picture, actually before this picture, I was surrounded by soldiers with guns, and they pointed the guns at me and said, "Why are you here? What are you doing?" And I said, I want to do paper airplane. At that time, Nepal was in the middle of a civil war. So this was actually the anti-government army's base right there. But I didn't know that. And I just went to that area. And I probably would have been killed, you would think. And I just said I want to fly a paper airplane. That's why I came. And they probably were saying, "What should we do? Should we kill them?" Or it seemed like what they were talking about. But I said, "Look at this paper. Wait, I will actually throw the paper." So actually, this is the picture of me taking. I was wondering what happens if I weren't able to fly it. Well, I was so shaking when I was making it, but I was able to fly it. And then actually I thought, well, I have to be able to get the soldiers on my side. So I said, "Why don't you fly a paper airplane as well?" So why don't you fly it as well? So everyone is watching them fly paper airplanes. And then this next one, "Oh, I will do it." So it'd be great if we could get rid of war by this. And I was thinking this peace is wonderful. So you can see the impression just by looking at this picture that paper airplanes are actually a sign of peace, I think, and that all of you as well. I ask that please make a paper airplane, go outside, and enjoy flying them. Thank you.